13 M036 Tayyib Nasir. So what is TypeScript? TypeScript is a superset of JavaScript that is in addition to features of JavaScript, it provides some other features of its own. Uh, this diagram will very much show you how TypeScript is including JavaScript in it. So in addition to some all the features of JavaScript, TypeScript introduce its own features, which I will be explaining you throughout this presentation. We know that JavaScript is interpreted and is dynamic language. However, TS, that is the TypeScript, is compiled, or to be more precise, it is transpiled. That is conversion of code from one language to another high-level language. So I have tried to explain this using some animation over here. So this is our code in TypeScript. We would have some transpiler that will convert our TypeScript code into equivalent JavaScript code. So let's move on to the first example. Before that, I would like to tell you that there are many tools and IDEs available if you want to work with TypeScript. Like we have extensions in Visual Studio 2013 onwards, and Eclipse, Brackets, and Sublime Text Editor. However, I'm using over here Visual Studio Code, that is an IDE for TypeScript, and it also have many other features. Moreover, you can get more information about TypeScript language and the tools and its documentation etc. at typescriptlang.org. Over here, if when you will go to this website, you can find out a link playground, which also provide you with an online editor for TypeScript. So let's move on to the first code over here. I have write some code in TypeScript over here. You can see the extension of the file is TS. It just prints hello world on your console. I also have an HTML file over here which just includes this TypeScript, includes a JavaScript file, not TypeScript file. So how to convert our TypeScript file into JavaScript file? When you are downloading some text editor, most probably you would also get the compiler for transcript. So let's compile this transcript file into JavaScript file using the command prompt. Okay, I have navigated here to my folder where my TypeScript file is available. Now to convert your TypeScript file into JS file, we are to use the command tsc, that is TypeScript compiler, and type the name of our TypeScript file, hello world.ts. Okay, now let me move on to the directory where I had my TypeScript file. Over here you can see I have an additional JavaScript file with the same name. Let me open it up for you. This will have the equivalent JavaScript code for your TypeScript code. However, in this one we don't have much, so until it's opening I will show you the output. I've already opened the HTML file over here. So see, you can see on the console we have hello world printed. Meanwhile, see, this is our JavaScript code that has been converted from our TypeScript code. Another feature that TypeScript provide you is with the use of static types. We know that JavaScript is is a loosely typed language where the variable and the data types are bind dynamically at runtime. So whatever value you want to assign to a variable, you are free to assign it regardless of the data type. However, if we want to specify a certain type for variable, we can use TypeScript so that we are notified by an error whenever we try to assign a different type value to a variable which we intend to be of a specific static data type. So how to use this? I have write some code over here to explain you the basic syntax for putting a static type for a variable. For example, over here we have a variable a which I have statically bound to the type string, and another variable b which I have statically bound to be of type number. So now let's try to assign a string to a number and a number to a string over here. This would definitely give us an error. Now let me compile this for you and then I can show you what the error is. Okay, you can see that it is telling us the compiler, the TypeScript compiler, that we got two errors, one on line 4 and the other on line 8, telling us we cannot convert number to string, and the other one is telling that we cannot convert a string to number. Similarly, we can have a static type for our function arguments as well as for the return type. Here is the syntax. Uh, for function ABC, I have passed one argument A, which is of type string. Just put a colon and the type you intend to bind your variable to. Similarly, over here I have determined the return type of our function name to be a number. So now let's try to return a string rather than a number over here. Let me compile this code for you. Okay, another error over here that's telling us that we cannot convert a string to a number. So now let me get this code correct and run for you one last time. Okay, everything fine with the compilation. The class keyword has been introduced in JavaScript by ECMA 6, but however, most of the interpreters are not yet giving support for it. TypeScript provides support for class keyword to be used. Uh, so now let's have a look at some code to how to create classes in JavaScript using class. Okay, over here I have created a class with the name myClass. The important thing here to note is that unlike most of the other languages, the constructor for our class is not this function over here that is with the same name as the class name, but this one function that is a function having a keyword constructor as its name, and this function over here is just another member function. So I have made some other member functions as well. This is how I made an instance of my class, and now let's see how what is the output of this code. So you can see here, first we have the line printed hello from constructor, which is not this one but this one constructor, and similarly then I have accessed the print Yahoo function as well as the member A, which have now value of 1 2 3, and finally calling my class, which is not the constructor but another member function. Okay, so this was about classes. Now let's move on to the access modifiers. Like other languages, we also have access modifiers in TypeScript, which are protected, private, and public. By default, everything over here is public. However, we can make some function or member to be private or protected as well, have the same functionality as in other languages. Over here I have made the function print private to be a private function, or over here I have tried to access it, so I am getting an error that it is not accessible over here. Now let me show you what code is generated against our class in the TypeScript, in the JavaScript. You can see the same code has been generated, the one that we have been using while when we were creating classes simply using pure JavaScript. We also have the concept of static keyword in in TypeScript. Over here I have made a static member that is static var and assigned it a string value static, and this is how we will be using it, that is with the name of the class. I have already executed this code, and see over here on the console we can see the value static being printed. TypeScript also supports inheritance, abstract classes, interfaces. However, I would not be able to explain you all of these in detail, as I am to sum up this presentation in 5 to 10 minutes. However, I can make sure that all of these concepts are very much similar to that we have been practicing in other languages like C#. So now let me explain you a bit about inheritance. I have some code over here regarding inheritance. So simply I have a class over here, bird, which only have one member function, fly, and then a class pigeon extends birds. This is inheritance over here. So all of the concept of inheritance stays over here. We can also have a look at JavaScript code which has been generated. You can see this would be familiar with you if you are aware with how JavaScript does inheritance using the prototype object. So now let me show you output of this code over here. Both of the functions are being accessed correctly. So this was a bit of, you can say, overview or brief introduction to TypeScript.